Welcome back to my channel. So today I have something I know a lot of you have been waiting for, the chapter 1 read of #Poser, which is the 5th book in the # series. So before I start reading, let me give you a little bit of information about #Poser that I haven't announced yet. So you're getting some scoop right now. So let me tell you about it. So with #Poser, I did something a little different than what I've done with the other # novels. #Poser is divided into 3 parts, and you're probably like, what? Why? It's one story. It flows together, but I divided it up into 3 parts for one main reason, really. The main reason is that the middle part of the book is written in Zach's POV. So, you're all like, what? Zach is, so you're going to get Zach's point of view. It gives you a glimpse into his crazy mind. It gives you a look at kind of why he does some of the things that he's done in the past to Romeo and Rimmel, and then also with Ivy and Brayden. I know a lot of the readers have been asking me, are we ever going to know what's up with Zach? Is Zach a redeemable character? What is happening with Zach? Why is he so cuckoo? Well, this is your chance to get to know Brayden and get all of those questions answered. So part 1 is Brayden and Ivy's point of view. And then part 2 is Zach's point of view. And then part 3 is back with Brayden and Ivy. And I broke it up into those 3 parts because I thought that it would be a little bit easier for you guys, reading wise, just because you'll have Zach all in one part instead of me like going back and forth between 3 of them throughout the whole book. So I did that just to make it a little bit easier. It was easier for me as well to write. So basically the first part is, I gave each part a title. The first title of the first part is To Tell or Not to Tell, and then Zach's part is Meanwhile at the Mental Ward, and then the third part is It's About to Go Down in Alpha Town. So I had fun with it. I really just played it up a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoy getting a glimpse inside Zach's head. I know that it was interesting to write. At times it made me have a stomach ache, made me feel kind of like dirty and greasy, but that's who he is. So I'll be looking forward to see what you guys have to say about Zach. So when you pick up #Poser and you see the part 1, don't automatically be like, I know sometimes authors do that, and then you automatically assume that somebody is going to die and they switch to part 2 because the people in part 1 are dead. No, okay? Brayden and Ivy are not dying, okay? It's going to be fine, but that's why I did what I did. So yeah, I hope you give it a chance, and I hope you like it. And actually today, I'm not reading chapter 1, I'm reading the prologue, which I have also given a title, and I titled it The Bromance. So you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say the bromance. So yeah, this is kind of how Poser starts out, and yeah, so how about I just get to the goods, because I know that's what you guys want. You want some little bit of Romeo and Brayden action, don't you? So yeah, so I have it on my phone here. See my # phone case? Thank you to all you guys who ordered them and made it a successful campaign. I really, really appreciate it. I hope that if you got one that you are enjoying it. It's a really fun case, and I just wanted to say thank you guys. So yeah, so let's get to the book. So the bromance, aka the prologue. And the buzz notification at the top is hashtag summertime. Make the most of the sunshine. Fall is coming soon. Hashtag BuzzBoss. And this is written in Braden's point of view. So here we go. And remember, disclaimer, I am not a professional narrator. I'm probably going to mess up, I'm probably going to stutter, and I'm probably going to sound crazy, but that's part of my charm? Yes? Maybe? So just remember that. So here we go. Braden, I suck at goodbyes. Yeah, sure. Technically, this wasn't a goodbye. Still felt like it. Still sucked. It was more of a see you later, but how do you say see you later when it was more like see you in a couple months, especially when you have seen that person practically every single day since you were in first grade? I'd never say it out loud, for risk of someone taking my man card away, but me and Rome had a bond. We weren't just friends, we were brothers from another mother. And the part I will never speak out loud, a bromance. We have a bromance, okay? I knew this day was coming. Everyone knew it was coming from the second the ink dried on the contract for the Maryland Knights. Hell, I knew this was coming from the first moment I saw him throw a football. Knowing something didn't make it any easier. So many changes lately, most of them I was doing good with. Some weighed me down more than others. Like a lot more. But I never really thought Romeo leaving for training would feel like such a rift in my life. But here I was, feeling all sentimental and shit. It was embarrassing. When this conversation was over, I was going to have to go do something manly, like build something with my bare hands. Or maybe I'd just eat some sprinkles. I pulled up next to the Hellcat and parked. I knew he'd be here. If I was in his position, this is where I'd be too. I walked through the tunnels, past the locker rooms, and into the stands. The field stretched out before me like the ocean at the beach. The field was immaculate, vibrant green in color, cut meticulously and slightly damp from the watering it got every single day. Even on the off-season, Alpha U knew where its priorities lie. This football field represented so much more than a sport. To me, it was family. It was life. It was an escape. Rome was standing at the railing, looking out across the field we'd played on more times than I could count. I couldn't believe it was over. We'd played our last game together and hadn't known at the time. I was glad, though. I wanted that last game to be exactly as it had been. Nothing but the sport and the fun. Nothing but watching each other's backs and keeping our heads in the game. It made for good memories. I stopped beside him at the railing and didn't say a word. We stood there for a while. I knew his thoughts mirrored my own. I'll never quit you, B, Romeo eventually said, a hint of sarcasm in his tone. It wasn't the first time he said that to me. I swung my head to scoff at him, but the sound never made it out. His words might be a joke, but the meaning of them wasn't. There was no smirk on his face, no laughter in his eyes. He meant it. I'll never quit you either, Rome. He lifted his fist from the rail and held it between us. We pounded it out. Pounding it out made everything official. Seems like I worked my whole life for this. I waited and thought it might never come, he said, still gazing out across the field. But damn, it came fast. You having second thoughts? I glanced at him out of the corner of my eye. He shook his head. It's just hard to walk away, you know? I did know. For a guy who planned on living his whole life in the moment and just for fun, things got complicated. Things got real. It was hard to live in the moment all the time when you sometimes worried there might not be another one. That past moments would come back and destroy what was today. I shook the thought off. This wasn't about me. This was about my best friend, my brother, and saying goodbye. You got Rim now, I replied. You got responsibilities beyond throwing a ball. He nodded and looked down at his hands. I knew he didn't want to leave her. Hell, I'd be the same way, especially after everything they'd been through. Just a couple weeks away from Ivy when she went home at the beginning of the summer had tested my patience. I couldn't imagine leaving for months at a time. But that don't mean you're walking away. This is for her too. You gotta build a life, bro, and with this job, this opportunity, it's gonna give you both a hella good one. She said the same thing, he half smiled. Didn't surprise me one bit. Rim knew football was in Rome's blood. She'd never stand in the way of that. I clapped him on the back. back. My sis knows what she's talking about. I need you to do something for me. He looked at me, not sure how you're going to feel about it. Dude, I sighed dramatically. I told you, that one-time thing. That was a one-time thing. If I went running across campus in my boxers again, I might give the old ladies in the office building heart attacks. I gestured to myself. Takes a strong ticker to handle all this. I don't want to see you in your damn skivvies, he flashed a smile, though I'd pay to see Ivy's reaction to that. Hell, I muttered, I'd never hear the end of it. Romeo's smile grew wider into a shit-eating grin. Rim says Prada has taken quite a liking to you. Damn rat, I spat, but then I smiled. It was hard not to love her when she'd come prancing up to the door in a stupid pink outfit when I walked in. And okay, yeah, maybe I let her sleep with us. Who's whipped now? Romeo laughed. You kiss your mama with that mouth? I cracked. He laughed and pushed off the railing to sit in the row of seats behind us. I dropped down beside him. What do you need? He said he had to know I'd do it. We had each other's backs like that. I rented a house. A ring of keys appeared in his hand, and he spun them around his finger as he spoke. It's not too far from campus. Nice neighborhood, fenced-in yard, security system, garage. But you're leaving for training in like a week. He looked at me. Ah, he was leaving, but Rim wasn't. I laughed. You rented her a house? She's so pissed, isn't she? The grimace on his face said it all. She wasn't too happy. Took some work to get her to come around. I didn't need to know about the kind of work he was talking about. I thought she had to live on campus, as part of her scholarship. He shrugged. I called the dean. That was the realm I knew. Rules didn't apply to him. If he wanted something, he had the rules bent. It got my respect. You sure her living alone is a good thing, though? Might be better on campus or at your place. She won't stay at my place. Not with my mom right next door, he answered. He looked at me. I asked Ivy to move in with her. My eyes shot up to his. What? I wasn't sure what I felt about that. She never said anything to me. I asked her not to. Told her I wanted to talk to you myself. I started shaking my head. Them two alone in a house? I thought about what happened to Ivy not that long ago, what she didn't even know. I thought about the way sometimes she still called out in her sleep. I didn't want her alone. I don't like it. Romeo nodded like he already knew my reaction. Of course, he couldn't possibly know how sick it made me to think of Ivy alone in a house, vulnerable. He didn't know everything. I didn't even tell him. That's where you come in, he said. And then I knew what he was asking. Romeo wanted me to move in with them. He wasn't just renting Rimmel a house, he was renting a place for all of us. You know damn well I can't afford rent on a 3-bedroom house. You probably rented it over in the Palisades, I muttered. A smile played on his lips. It's 4 bedrooms. You totally fucking did, I accused. My mom can't even afford that neighborhood roam. This ain't about the money, I laughed. Says the guy with the fat fucking bank account. His eyes narrowed on the look behind them was hard. You know I ain't about money. We ain't never been about it either. I scrubbed a hand down my face and cursed. No, we ain't. And I'm not about to start now. I get it, he said low. You're a man. You've got a lot of pride. I'm not trying to take it from you. But you know full fucking well that if you had the cash for this, you'd do it too. This is best for them. Ivy can't keep hiding that rat in her dorm room. With the new semester, her and Rim probably will be assigned new roommates. I don't want my girl rooming with some bitch that I don't know. And I know you don't want Ivy doing it either. People aren't going to forget too easily about all the shit the buzz boss said about her. I wouldn't be surprised if she reminds everyone of it the first week back. If Missy knows what's good for her, she'll stay the hell away from Ivy, I growled. They'd never admit it, but they needed someone to look out for them. I can't leave here knowing Rim isn't taken care of. I'm asking you to move in with her. I'm asking you to watch out for her. I've got some cash saved up, and I'll be working all summer, all the way up until training camp, I hedged. Rent's paid for the next year. I shook my head. Of course it fucking was. Romeo always had money. His parents had always made sure he had the best of shit. But he wasn't the kind of guy who ever seemed to think about it. It just was. He didn't act all laid up like he was in some expensive, exclusive club. When we were kids, he hung at my place just as much as his. He ate dinner at our kitchen table, and not even once did I see a look of anything but acceptance in his eyes. But that didn't mean I didn't want him paying my way. It's just money, B. We're family, he said, almost like he could read my thoughts. I groaned, and Romeo slapped me on the shoulder. Thank God. I really thought you would say no. I'm doing this for the girls, I clarified. That's why I'm doing it too. I knew it was. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about what the fall semester was going to be like for Ivy, and who she was going to be stuck rooming with. At least I knew this way she could keep the rat, and I know she'd have somewhere to go where eyes weren't always constantly following her. I'll pay as much of the utilities as I can. Rim and Ivy have insisted on pitching in too, he added. I can't believe she didn't tell me, I muttered, thinking about my girl. I just talked to her this morning, and I asked her not to. She wanted this too, I asked. I wouldn't do it if she had any kind of reservations. We hadn't been together very long, and we were now moving in together. I needed to talk to her, make sure this is what she wanted. Honestly, I think she was relieved. I don't think living on campus was very easy for her last semester. I knew this better than anyone, even better than Ivy herself, why that was. I should have figured it out sooner, I muttered. Missy had everyone fooled, Romeo said. Shady bitch, I slurred. You know, it's not just Rim I don't want to leave, Romeo said, his voice candid and low. I looked over at him. Romeo kept me grounded. Life hadn't always been easy for me, but he was always there. Sometimes he kept me together. I guess I understood why he was worried about leaving me. I'm straight, honestly, I promised. You talked to him? He looked me in the eye. He was talking about my father, the abusive man who used to make me and my mom's life a living hell. I hadn't seen him since he was arrested for almost killing her when I was 10. But then he walked into the diner one Sunday morning just a few weeks ago. He came right up to the table like he had every right to my time, like I would just talk to him, accept his presence as if he hadn't totally fucked me up. No, my voice was final. So you aren't going to? I blew out a frustrated breath and stood, pacing a little. Talking about him always made me edgy and frustrated. I don't know. I don't want to. I could have lived my entire life without seeing him ever again, but I did, and he was dying. It changed things. I might not want to talk to him now, but what about in 5 years? What if I felt different then? My mom talked to me about closure, about dealing with it all once and for all. Deep down, I knew closure probably would do a lot for me, but sometimes closure was hard to accept. It was hard to grasp. How did you wrap something ugly, so ugly up, all neat and tidy, and put it away? How did you forgive someone for not being the man they should have been? How did I not feel the effects of his abuse? I didn't have 5 years. I might not even have 2. If I thought I would ever want closure for him from my father, it was something I had to act upon now, before he died. Are you guys still with me? Do you want me to finish, or should I stop? I only have a few more paragraphs for the end of this. This was a long prologue, and then I'll finish it up. So, yeah, let me keep going. If you decide to call him, if you want me there, I'll be there. Thanks, I said, feeling a little relieved when he wasn't going to push what I thought he should do on me. This was something I had to figure out on my own. He stood up and stepped up to me. His eyes met mine. I mean it. Just call. I'll come home. Football means a lot to me, but family means more. I let his words sink in. I felt them for a few seconds. I don't think he'd ever know what they meant to me, and I wasn't ever going to try and explain. I made a sniffing sound. You got a tissue, man? I think I'm gonna cry. He shoved me and laughed. Asshole. I caught him off guard with a hug. His laughter died in his throat, and he returned the embrace. We both pulled away and glanced around like we wanted to make sure no one witnessed our moment. I'm parking the Hellcat in the garage, he said, and palmed the keys that I now knew were to my new place. Wouldn't want to get dust on it, I cracked. Or are you just hiding it from Rim, hoping she won't get any ideas about driving it around while you're training? Romeo groaned. Much as I worry about her ripping the transmission out, I'd almost be relieved if she drove that and not the damn bucket of bolts her dad bought her. Since all the drama went down with Rimmel and her family, her dad sold almost everything he owned and to go into treatment and satisfy the courts for his part in her mom's death and the extortion of Romeo. And with what little her dad had left, he bought her a car. It was an old Honda Civic SI model, a white two-door with a hatchback. It looked like a weird bubble on the road. Like I said, Rome was not ate up about money, but he didn't want like his girl driving around in a car that was well over 10 years old. If he had his way about it, she'd be driving a Mercedes or some shit. But she wouldn't have it. My sis was stubborn as hell when she wanted to be, so she drove the Honda, and Rome hated it. I've been over that car with a fine-tooth comb. It's safe for her to drive, I assured him. When she drove it home and we stepped out of the house, Rome about shit his pants. I thought I was going to have to give him CPR to keep him going. I admit, I didn't care for the car either, but one of us had to keep chill, and since he was wheezing on his feet, it had to be me. So I kept my trap shut about it and got under the hood. I replaced all the shit that needed replacing, and Rome took it for a test drive, and while he was out, he put new tires on it. We didn't tell Rim, and she didn't notice. Women, Romeo muttered. I hear you, bro, I sympathized. We both laughed, and Romeo turned away from the field. Come on, I need help moving my gym out of my place and into the new one. My own private gym? Damn, I sang. I could get used to this. I plan on being around a lot. Every second I have off, I'm coming home. You're gonna have to share. Turns out it didn't matter that I sucked at goodbyes. This wasn't even close to a goodbye. This was a whole new beginning. So yeah, that was the prologue for #Poser. Basically, it gives you a glimpse as to what's going to be happening. So the gang, they're all moving into a house together. They're not going to be living in dorms anymore. So we have that going on, and Romeo is going away to training, but don't worry, he's still in there some, so you'll get to see him, and Rimmel and Trent and maybe somebody new too is going to be popping up, but you'll have to read the book to find out who that is. I think you're going to like him. But yeah, so sorry for the long video, you guys. I hope it was worth it, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, #Poser comes out on August 18th. It is available for pre-order right now. So if you want to pre-order it, it will be delivered to you on midnight on release day. So yes, so thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy Poser. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!